I'm here to tell y'all today in this video that Max Blessed Holloway just might defeat Ilia Topuria October 26th at UFC 308. We might be looking at a reality where Max Holloway becomes a two-time champion. Now, okay, hold your horses, slow your roll before you guys start getting your panties in a bunch. Just as a disclaimer, this is not an official prediction, okay? I'm not set on a prediction yet. So in case this video ends up being wrong, I don't want to see anyone come back to this video in the comment section being like, well, this didn't age well, this aged like milk. Look, this is not me saying for sure that Max Holloway will beat Ilia Topuria, but I'm just seeing way too many people, a ridiculous amount, counting out Max Blessed Holloway. Like, so many people are so confident that Topuria is just gonna walk through this guy, that he's gonna be the first man to knock him out. Like, honestly, look, I would not be shocked if Topuria does win, but if anything, he's gonna win by decision. And if he wins, it's going to be a really close fight. Okay, it hasn't happened yet. We've not seen Max get knocked out. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Ilia Topuria, who couldn't knock out Josh Emmett, is going to knock out someone with one of the best chins in UFC history. Okay, it's just not happening. Now, if that does happen, then come back to this video and you can say, I told you so. But first off, yeah, I don't see him knocking out Max Holloway. And people forget who Max Holloway is. He is literally an all-time great in the featherweight division. He hasn't lost to anyone at featherweight not named Conor since 2013 when he lost to Conor McGregor. Okay, the only man to beat Prime Max at featherweight, because Conor didn't beat Prime Max. He beat him when he was like a young adult, when he was just a kid basically, before his brain even fully developed. Alexander Volkanovski beat the best version of Max in this current form in the featherweight division 3 times. Outside of that, Max Holloway has looked pretty much unstoppable. I mean, let me just pull out their resumes right now. Let's start with Max Holloway. So Max Holloway, 26-7, 12 wins by knockout, 2 by submission, 12 decisions, 7 losses. And 3 out of his last 7 losses have been to the same guy, Alexander Volkanovski. You take those losses away, he's probably like, if my math is off, excuse me, he might be 29-4 right now if Volkanovski doesn't exist, and we might be looking at this guy as the greatest featherweight of all time. Okay? I mean, look at who this guy's fought. Look at him in the featherweight division. Okay, he has the Gaethje win, that's a lightweight, but he ended the win streak of Arnold Allen. Okay, he beat Yair Rodriguez, beat Calvin Kattar when he was on a run. I know the win didn't really age well. Frankie was washed. He beat Brian Ortega, exposed him, fraud checked him, but beat the legendary Jose Aldo twice. Okay, so this guy literally, since 2013, went like, I think he went like, what, 13-0 since? Or 14-0 in the featherweight division, I believe. Okay? So no one outside of Volkanovski has been able to stop Prime Holloway in the featherweight division. Okay? And then also, we got to talk about that Gaethje performance, because I did not expect him to knock out Gaethje. Well, I wasn't surprised that he knocked him out. I was more so surprised that he completely controlled the entire fight, dominated Justin Gaethje, who arguably could be a better fighter than Ilia Topuria, and could have been a more dangerous fight for Max for all we know. We don't know that yet. We're gonna have to find out October 26th, like Max Holloway says. But like, I don't know, like, who's to say that Topuria, if let's say there was no Volk in the picture and Max was a long reigning champ, who's to say that for sure Ilia Topuria was going to be the one to stop Max at featherweight if not Volkanovski? Now look, this is not me discrediting Ilia Topuria. I think Ilia Topuria is great. He's very dangerous, really good boxing, with heavy hands, well-rounded fighter, he's good on the ground. I'm not saying this is not a dangerous fight for Max Holloway, but people are just too quick to jump the gun and act like Max literally has no chance to win this fight. I think it's ridiculous. And then look at Ilia Topuria. Let's look at his resume. 15-0, 5 wins by knockout, 8 by submission. Okay, Max has more knockouts than this dude. Okay, he knocked out Volk. Very impressive. Okay, and we know Volk beat Max 3 times. But I mean, if you really think deeper into it, when he knocked out Volkanovski, he literally fought Volk coming off a quick turnaround after getting slept by Islam Makhachev and then also having to cut back down to the featherweight division. So he fought the worst version of Volkanovski, past his prime, coming off a knockout loss, physically deterred, not the same guy who beat Max Holloway in that third fight, okay? He had the chips in his favor against Volkanovski. He fought him under favorable circumstances, and fair play, he took advantage of it. He got the job done. But Max right now, I'm not saying he's a better fighter than Volkanovski overall, because he's not. But at this point in their careers, I think Max just might be a harder fight. Okay, I mean, he had an impressive performance against Josh Emmett. But, okay, let's go down the list. So Bryce Mitchell, let's talk about that one. Bryce Mitchell was having success against Topuria on the feet, landing that jab, kind of finding a home for that high kick as well, not landing it flush. But Ilia was kind of struggling in the stand-up against Mitchell before he was able to put hands on him and drop and sub him. He got dropped by Jai Herbert, struggling with Jai Herbert, okay? And then I don't want to put too much stock into the Yusuf Zalal fight because that was 4 years ago. That was Ilia's UFC debut, and I think it was like short notice, so, you know, it makes sense. But the Bryce Mitchell fight and the Jai Herbert fight were literally not that long ago. They were 2 years ago. Okay, and then, okay, he overperforms against Josh Emmett, and then he knocks out Volkanovski. But even in that fight against Volkanovski, Ilia Topuria didn't look that unbeatable to me. Like, okay, round 1 was close. He lands some good leg kicks, but Volkanovski is kind of getting the better of the exchanges. I thought Volk could have barely won that first round, and round 2, Volkanovski was touching Ilia with that jab. He was stinging him. He was piecing up Ilia Topuria, and he was reddening up his face, blooding up that nose. That was a Volk round until Ilia was able to explode in, close the distance against someone equally as short as him, and land those punches and knock out the chinny Volkanovski, coming off a knockout loss to Makhachev. But if Bryce Mitchell and Volkanovski and Jai Herbert are having this kind of success against Topuria, what do you think someone like Max Holloway could do in this fight? Like, what happens if Max is touching Ilia with that jab? What happens if Max starts piecing up Ilia Topuria, starts touching him up, starts getting the better end of the exchanges? Is Ilia Topuria going to be able to change the fight, swing the momentum in his favor with one punch against Max? We're going to have to find out October 26th. Maybe he does become the first man to knock him out. But if he really starts struggling in the stand-up against Holloway, I don't think he's going to be able to just punch his way out of trouble. I don't think he's going to be able to simply explode forward on Max and then just knock him out against the cage like he did against Jai, like he did against Volk, or land a good combo and drop him like he did against Bryce Mitchell. I just don't see that happening. And Max is not going to be as easy to hit as people think. I know Max statistically does get hit a lot in his fights, but Max Holloway is very in and out. He's very good at sticking and moving. He's got great footwork. And I could see him drawing a lot of misses out of Ilia Topuria. I think it's going to be a lot harder to trap Holloway against the cage than it would be someone like Alexander the Great Volkanovski. Okay? I'm not going to give like my most technical breakdown for this matchup or talk about the outside foot battle. I'll save that for my official prediction. But I don't know. I just do not see this being an easy fight for Ilia Topuria. Like, even if Ilia wins this fight against Max, what I'm going to predict to happen in this fight is Ilia might win, but I think the narrative about Ilia Topuria is going to completely shift. Like right now, I feel like fans are massively overrating Topuria, you know, putting him in all-time terms already when his only best win was Volkanovski, really. That's his only good win when Max has a better resume. People are already saying that he would take over lightweight and beat Islam Makhachev, which is laughable because he would not beat Islam. Islam would beat him probably with relative ease, and I believe Islam would finish him. Okay, people are putting him in the same conversation as Khabib, being a little delulu. And I feel like Max is going, and I mean he will humble the Topuria fan base, win or lose. Because either Max is going to lose a very razor close decision, where a lot of people are probably going to say that Max was robbed, or Max is going to have a lot of big moments where he exposes a lot of flaws in Topuria's game, where Ilia is just not going to look that unbeatable against Max Holloway. I don't know. I just have a feeling. I have a feeling Max Holloway just might win. He just might become a two-time featherweight champion on October 26th. He just might get the belt back. I will not be shocked if Max Holloway becomes Ilia's first loss. If Ilia becomes 15 and Holloway by the end of October. I don't know. But I just think the differences between Ilia and Volkanovski, even though Topuria did beat Volk, who beat Max, again, he beat a different and a worse version of Volk than what Max fought. But styles make fights, and Ilia's striking style is a lot different compared to someone like Volk. Yes, Ilia does have a lot of power, a lot of firepower, and he could hurt Max. He could take the approach of punching with Max whenever Max tries to engage. But the thing is about Volk, a prime Volk, is he's a rhythm disruptor. He's very good at breaking your rhythm, not letting you get settled in, not being able to find your flow to land proper combinations. Ilia doesn't really do that, okay? He's not as good of a counterpuncher as Volkanovski, especially not off the back foot. He doesn't fight as effectively going backwards as Volk can. Like, Volk can literally go backwards for 5 rounds straight against Max and beat the crap out of him. I don't think Topuria could do the same thing. Now, Ilia does have some leg kicks he could use. I don't think his leg kicks are as effective as Volkanovski's. And I don't know, I could just see there being more openings for Max to connect some shots on Ilia than there was on someone like Volkanovski. You know, it's a lot harder to hit Volk. I feel like Ilia is going to be easier to hit. He might be easier to land combinations on. His cardio's not as good as Volkanovski, okay? Doesn't have as good of a gas tank as Volk. And honestly, I don't think Ilia Topuria is really that fast either. I've watched his fights. I'm not saying he's slow, but Max Holloway just might actually have a speed advantage against Ilia Topuria. He actually might be faster than El Matador. Okay, I could actually see him having a speed advantage, being a lot faster, which may actually help him in the striking against Ilia. Whereas when he fought Volk, the main thing he struggled with against Volkanovski was not just Volk's stance switches and leg kicks and jabs, which Ilia doesn't have a good jab as Volkanovski, but it was Volkanovski's speed that was really throwing off Holloway's timing. And I don't think Topuria has that kind of speed or that kind of footwork. He just plods forward with a high guard, bobbing and weaving, and I don't know if that style is going to be as effective on someone like Max Holloway. And I feel like this fight's going to come down to who gives up ground first. If Ilia Topuria is able to lead the dance, press the action, he's the guy on the front foot pressing Max Holloway backwards, then Topuria will have more success in the striking and probably win. But if Max is able to, hold his ground, control the center of the octagon, then Max Holloway will probably beat Ilia Topuria. And the thing is about Max too, is he also has effective counters, and people say that, he struggles against shorter opponents, but most of his featherweight career, he's had a height advantage over almost everyone he's faced, and he's dominated. The only shorter opponent to actually give him a hard time was Alexander Volkanovski. Shorter, longer reach. Topuria literally has the same reach as Max Holloway, so he's not going to have that reach advantage like Alex did. And Max has a way of approaching shorter opponents. He's very good at setting up that uppercut on shorter guys who try to engage against him. I mean, look at him against Frankie. He was timing that uppercut perfectly. He hurt Volk with an uppercut as he was coming in. Max is very good at landing knees down the middle on shorter opponents who try to press forward. So I could see Max using that knee to kind of stifle that pressure of Ilia. Max also has good oblique kicks to the knees as well, and he's very lethal with that spinning back kick to the body, which I could see knocking the wind out of Ilia Topuria, draining the tank. He might actually be able to land more body shots on Ilia than he was able to on Volkanovski. So I don't know. We're going to find out October 26th. I said that like 3 times in this video. This is not an official prediction video. This is just a warning video to all those people who are sleeping on Max and not giving him a chance. This is not going to be an easy fight. I don't think Ilia is going to stop Holloway. I don't think he's going to finish him. If he wins, it's going to be a controversial close decision. And if Max wins, Max Holloway might just dominate Ilia, and I won't be surprised if Max finishes him. And I just have a feeling that we're going to see Max enter the flow state. I know people are talking about the interviews saying, oh, Ilia cooked him and Max Holloway is emotional. Ilia's in his head. Honestly, pissing off Max Holloway might just be the biggest mistake ever, because when you make Max mad, he looks to prove a point in that octagon. When Kattar said he was going to make Max look like the freshman came to play, and Max literally kicked in those ultra instincts, and I feel like we might see him do that on October 26th. And every time fans grasp at straws and say, oh, this fighter's emotional and so got in that fighter's head, that ends up aging horribly. And the fighter who appeared to be emotional or got into ends up winning inside the fight, okay? Just as a heads up, okay, that interview means absolutely nothing. Ilia can have that ESPN interview, but let's see if he has the win in the octagon as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Like and subscribe, and peace out.